Okay. We'll call the meeting to order. Eric, have you taken roll call?
I have. Everyone is present except Tiffany Kirkland.
Okay.
And we have Larry Pratt in attendance as well. Hey, Chief.
Hi, Chief.
Has everybody had a chance to look over the minutes?
Yes.
And do I have a motion to approve the minutes from the March 16th meeting?
So moved.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries. Public requests and petitions. It looks like we don't have any.
We don't have any tonight.
Okay, so old business, youth sports, and spring sports.
Ryan, why don't you tell the board and give the update on our spring sports, which is pretty darn exciting.
Sure, gladly. So this spring we're offering spring soccer and then t-ball, baseball, and softball. We have 219 kids in soccer and just over 212. It'll be like 213 in baseball, t-ball, and softball combined. So we have pretty close to 450 kids participating in spring sports. So that's awesome. They've really
pretty good.
They've come out and, I feel like, the parents are ready to get their kids out and participating and stuff again. So that's really exciting. And so we're going to start our soccer games start on Saturday, and we'll start our t-ball, baseball, and softball the first full week in May.
I can tell you that t-shirts and things like that have been ordered. Equipment's all delivered to the teams. They're practicing and when they can, when it's not wet. But we've got the teams out there practicing and so on and so forth. So, which we're excited about having the kids back out in the parks and looking forward to having the parents, grandparents, family members, and all that going out and being able to watch their kids and neighbors and all that stuff, be able to participate and instead of being in the house as all of us have been, this past year and couple of months. So pretty darn excited.
All right. How about doggy way stations?
Yes, they are in, and Debbie contacted me about the colors, and they came in the two standard colors, the black and the green, and they went with the green. We thought maybe the black might fade a little sooner than the green, and I did see on Facebook that they have the Rotary Club has started putting those together, and they will be getting those to us, and we will be distributing those around the different parts of the trail. We'll set those in, we'll auger the hole and set those various places throughout the community.
How many did we end up with?
15, I do believe.
I think that's correct.
So, excuse me. Rotary always steps up, it seems like, for park projects, whether it be these dog stations, helping set concrete and the benches for, in the park, the Rotary basketball court. It's a good service organization, and Ryan and I think this will really help with the situation of people just letting their dogs go without we think it's going to help a bunch in the parks. So they come with the trash cans right already there, and there's a sign on them. So it's a good thing that Rotary is doing this, and we're happy about that.
Good. All right.
Ryan,
How
you have
about
anything you want to add to that?
No, I'm just really excited that they're in stock and or in-house, I should say, and we're ready to set those puppies out.
Okay, what about the therapeutic riding rental for the bull ride?
That was approved, not at last night's board meeting, but the board meeting following our park board with the stipulations that are in the contract. Bree at Shelter is getting the insurance that is required for the bull ride to cover the Missouri sovereign immunity limits. It's like 2.9 million. So they bump it up to 3 million to cover that. So all of the insurance will be taken care of. Jay's excited about doing that. I know the Optimus Club is going to be providing the food and drinks and things like that as a fundraiser. I know they didn't get to do anything last year as far as fundraisers like that with the bull ride not being there, the Jesse James Festival, and so on and so forth. So it's going to help the therapeutic riding organization to help those kids, and it'll help kids down the road from the contributions that the Optimus Club makes. So that will be held July 30th and 31st at Jesse James Park in the arena. So, and what's nice about it, having it in the evening a couple of years ago, city put in a bunch of money for the new lights and new wiring and everything. So it lights up really well now, which is nice.
All right, how about the dog park?
Okay, I know you guys have approved the dog park location in Jesse James Park, and we have contacted the festival about that. We do have some fence bids that have come in, and to do the fencing alone, it's going to be about $34,000. However, staff has asked to be sure, and you guys, like I said, have already approved this, but there's another location, and you don't have to do the different location because it's already platted out at Jesse James Park if you so desire, but they just wanted to be sure that that is where you wanted it. The other location would be, we would convert field 6 to a small field because it doesn't have lights out at Mac Porter Park. That's the only field that does not have lights out there. We would shorten the fence, or we would add a fence at 200 feet, like what we have on fields 1, 2, and 3, and use that as a specific T-ball, coach pitch, or machine pitch type of field. And then the dog park would then be in the outfield, beyond the outfield fence, and we would leave the existing fence that is up and convert that into 2 separate sections of a dog park. We see pros and cons both ways, and Ryan, if you want to add anything, please do.
Yep.
But we're happy with either location. But I do know that the mayor wants to get rolling on this. Like I said, we do have 2 fence bids that have come in for the existing fence location at Jesse James Park. So
Can
do
you
you guys
share
have
with
any
us what the
comments?
Can
Go
you
ahead.
share with us what the pros and cons are for each one that you see?
Absolutely. Pros for Mac Porter Park. The parking location, they could use the north end of Mac Porter Park for parking. It's got a lot of parking area up there. As for parking in Jesse James Park, we would eventually put in a parking lot, but we would gravel it right away and make it bigger. But the location there right now is it's close to our maintenance shed. So if we're ever out in the park anywhere, naturally we'd have to lock everything up, where when we're in the park right now, we usually don't because we're close by. But with cars and people being in the dog park, which we think they will be, we think it'll get used extensively. That's one of the pros and cons on that. The other pro that I can see at Jesse James Park, it's a square fence. We have the bids. We have discussed this. It's about the same size as Excelsior Springs. We've got it okayed with the Jesse James Festival because they don't use that area. Pros both ways. They use both parks, but they mainly use Jesse James Park more for their dogs. We see a lot of dogs out there of them walking the trail. Pro would be we would gain another field that's usually not used on field 6 as more of a coach pitch, T-ball, younger division games. It's just both ways. And one other pro is naturally we would have a Johnny on the spot out there, as Excelsior Springs does.
At which park?
At Jesse
both.
James Park.
Okay.
The pro at Mac Porter Park is we already have the bathrooms that are open during this from April 1st until right before it freezes when we winterize those parks.
I would say one con for the Mac Porter location would be getting water to that location would be more difficult than it would in Jesse James Park. We'd have to dig up that field and bring water over and everything versus
From the bathroom.
I think we actually have a line going between a couple of the fields, or going up to the super soaker, Eric, that
Yep.
line.
Yep.
Yeah.
Those lines are by fields 5. Naturally, we want to put water hydrants, but we'd have to trench that. The other thing is there is a gas line that goes through those fields.
So that could potentially be dug up,
Right.
basically with 3 months notice or something along those lines, or in an emergency.
In an
no
emergency,
notice.
what they did the last time when they said they needed to repair the line, it was like a 30-day notice, and they dug up the infield on field number 5. So that can be and it has happened in the past. So can't say
it's
that
happened.
It won't
It's
happen
happened since
again.
I've been here. I mean,
so it's Mayor said he would support what you guys recommend, and we would take this to the Board of Aldermen. I know we've done a lot of talking about having the dog park out at Jesse James Park. It's 6 of one, half a dozen of the other. But we want to get rolling on this dog park. We want to go out for bid, at least for the fence. And then hopefully, continue to add on, like a couple of shelters in there and different things for the dogs to do, run through tubes and just different things for
attractions, if you will. Yeah.
Right. Different obstacles.
Well, I like the parking aspect, and I think that would save us a lot of money in the future. The parking is already there, and there's not a lot of other traffic there, except when they're using the fields. I think we'd have to put a porta potty there at least 6 months out of the year when the bathrooms are closed.
Here's the thing,
Because-
we don't have a bathroom for ourselves out there anyway. That, you
Yep.
know, so the bathroom aspect, so if we need to use the restroom because the park is always used, we've got to get in our vehicle anyway and drive to Mac Porter Park or go up to the amphitheater or go to one of the Johnny on the spots that are in the parking lot or up by the amphitheater anyway. So an extra toilet at Jesse James Park's not going to be any big deal. I mean,
But I also meant at Mac Porter.
oh, correct.
Yeah, because
Yep.
even though there's bathrooms there, 6 months out of the year, there's not.
Right.
So
That is correct.
I guess either place, you're gonna have to have that. Would the size, square footage of the dog park be the same at both places? Or would it be bigger at one and
It'd be fairly close.
Yeah, it's similar in size.
And we're talking within a couple 100 square feet difference. It's-
My
it's
big
an-
thing,
which
my
would be
big thing
bigger?
is, Connie, is the overhead power lines that are out there and the gas line that goes right through the fields. If they do that, they're going to be not only taking down an outfield fence, they'll be taking down the fence that's in that divides the large dog area to the small dog area. Because they have the right to do that. They have that easement to go in whenever they need to do something and do it. When it happens, who knows? May never happen in a long, long time. It could happen next week. We just don't know.
But Eric, does that eliminate that field from being used? I mean, if we turn into a dog park, are we losing a baseball diamond?
No,
we would keep the actual diamond, Dan. We would shorten the infield to like our small youth fields, and use that as like a machine pitch,
in T-ball.
T-ball, you know, young age fields. That field rarely gets used, but especially in the evening time because it doesn't have lights. But what, you know, they're not going to be out there anyway when the lights are, you know, when it's dark anyway, because we're not going to light the dog park anyway. So that's a moot point as well. I just know you guys have spent a lot of time on Jesse James Park. This is just something that we wanted to make sure before we go out for bid, which avenue you guys wanted to choose.
Well, let's talk money. Which one's cheaper?
Well, we already have a existing fence, but we're going to have to build a fence 200 feet from home plate. Then we're going to have to bring in the infield and plant grass and let that grow.
And
So
then the existing fence within the park as well.
right, and the existing fence, then we'd have to partition off to an area. It wouldn't be symmetrical, I can tell you that, how the other one is. You know, the outfield fence would be curved and the inside fence would be curved.
Well, then would it look like we just threw something together instead of making it look like a nice dog park?
Personally, I'm a little bit afraid of that.
Yeah. Yeah. And here's the thing, we've always talked about anyway, bringing that fence in and making it a smaller field anyway. And then we'd have a small field if we do that, and we'd have a dog park out at Jesse James Park. The nice thing about it is, guys, is with the bridge, they can park on the north end, which people do, and they use the parking lot at Mac Porter Park, the main parking lot. and get out and get on the trails and walk up anyway to Jesse James Park. Me personally, after looking at everything where we wanted it, because originally I wanted it at Mac Porter Park, but my gut feeling says we should have it at Jesse James Park. And another reason too is Jim said eventually he'd like to get our parking lot area paved and then extend it and make a paved parking lot where the existing dumpster is out there, because we're moving the dumpster down by where you go back where we shoot the fireworks. So that's where the new dumpster is going to be. We've already built a rock pad for that. So the dumpster's going no matter what. And it'll hide the dumpster a lot from people that go out there and just dump their trash. It's going to be hidden more. So
I tend to agree with Eric. I've personally never been a fan of the Mac Porter concept. Because, and I think you hit it on the head, Dan. My reason is I'm afraid it'll look like it's just thrown together.
Yeah, I'm listening to the conversation. I'm waiting for something to push me over the edge to say, yeah, Mac Porter makes sense. And I feel like it's one obstacle after another to make it work there. I think the best benefit is a parking lot there. I think the parking is nice. But other than that, I think there's more obstacles than anything. I think families, dogs are probably more at Jesse James, although it's accessible. Yeah, I would definitely say I like Jesse James better.
I'm leaning toward Jesse James also. I can just envision it. I can envision it better there. Plus, I don't like the idea of having the dogs with all those kids with all the games and the noise from the games.
uh-huh.
I can just see that being a conflict. And I can see the dogs possibly becoming a part of the game, and that's not good.
And barking in an area where they've got games and things of that nature.
I don't like the kids and the dogs together. Having been on the playground for years, when a dog comes by, it creates a lot of havoc.
Yeah, I could see that.
Nick, regarding the parking issue that you brought up, which is a really good one. This first year, we don't know if we'd be able to do, like we said, everything we want to, but I want to reiterate what Jim wants to do is he wants to pave our gravel parking lot out there and eventually get a nice parking area for people if we put it at Jesse James Park. A nice parking lot area out there. The water is going to be fairly easily accessible from our building out to the proposed dog park at Jesse James Park. We've got
I believe it's 300 feet or something like that.
We've got a water line right there. It'd be a straight shot that we'd like to, that's how we do it that away. We'd tie in, I should say, to that line and go out to the dog park area.
Yeah, that makes sense to me. And less grass you have to mow.
Well, yeah.
One way and less grass on the other part that we have to mow.
Yeah, I mean, it's it would create additional maintenance, but anything we do is going to create additional maintenance, so it's not really a factor for us.
So
do you need a motion from us since we've
do.
already approved it?
Mayor asked us to bring this to you and Jim from our staff meeting. So I would like a motion, one way or the other, your preferred location of the dog park, whether it be Jesse James Park or Mac Porter Park. So
Christy and Julie, we haven't heard from you. Are you leaning one way or the other?
I'm leaning towards Jesse James Park. The more we put out there, the better.
Yeah, I envision Jesse James Park because it seems like it would be more intentional and more accessible. I think with more people being out there. And a lot of times the Mac Porter can be just like dead quiet, and it feels a little bit isolated out there sometimes. So yeah, I like the idea of having it at Jesse James Park.
So I guess you need a motion for us to continue with our plans to put the dog park in at Jesse James Park. Is that correct?
That is correct.
All right. Do we have a motion for that?
I'll make a motion to do that.
Okay. Do we have a
Second
second?
that. Yep.
All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All
Aye.
opposed? No one's opposed. The motion carries. All right.
Thank you very much.
I don't know how I feel about that one field being reduced to a kids field. That just doesn't get used very much. And what about maybe future growth of other things out there?
That
Well,
field-
it has a 400-foot fence on it.
yeah, Nick, it's
Realistically-
They come in a little bit, yeah.
yeah. We've thought about bringing it in to at least 300 feet. That way then all three of the north fields would be a 300-foot fence. So
Yeah, I like that.
anyway. Okay. I appreciate your guys' input, ladies and guy, on that. But we wanted to make sure you guys were all on board before we take this to the Board of Aldermen with their approval and getting the fence bids and getting going on this project.
All right. So now we're moving on to new business with the Lions Park update.
Correct. The playground is about 95% done. We've got a punch list walkthrough with our architect, our consultant, Steve Casey, and Park Planet on Thursday. Ryan and I did a brief walkthrough with Cameron Cooper of Park Planet. Let's see, Monday, I do believe
Yeah, it would
it
have been
was.
Monday.
And had some concerns on some things that we noticed that we want taken care of before we sign off on that. Like I said, we'll have that final walkthrough and do a punch list to give to the installer. The shelters have been delivered. They have started setting the anchor bolts. So the shelters will start going up here in the very, very near future, probably starting tomorrow, I hope. The security system, I briefly talked to Lisa about this, but our security system, we've ran conduit over to where the shelters will be installed. And then it is also conduit is ran underneath the bathroom that will be coming. So all that conduit will be hidden except right towards the base of the actual shelters. The other will be security cameras will be placed on the actual firehouse building. 2 of them, the other 3 will be out in the park, up high on the shelters. That way we can see the entire park, including the band, small amphitheater band shell. Lisa had a few comments that she brought to my attention, and I visited with Jim about it, whether or not we need to post signage saying that video surveillance is in effect. So Friday, when we have our staff meeting, or our department head meeting, I should say, our city attorney is in those meetings, and we're going to bring that up with Brian Hall on Friday. Christy, that way we can, or Lisa, that way we can get some of those questions answered. I know Lisa had a concern to, make sure that they're not reachable, or if they're high, make it tough for people to resist vandalizing those. But the thing that is, we've got 5 cameras. So if someone's going to be vandalizing one of those cameras, we should be able to see the
Yeah.
vandalism.
In a lot of areas, we have overlapping coverage in
Right.
almost every area. So
That's what we're trying to do, so we can prevent the vandalism, or hopefully we don't have any vandalism, but this is hopefully a deterrent to vandalism, because in the previous park, it was bad. The band shell, or the amphitheater that was there, was constantly being vandalized. A lot of crude graffiti, and also graffiti in the shelters up above. Naturally, it was wood that they could ride on, and it was tough for us to cover that up at all times, but we didn't have any cameras, so we couldn't catch them. Hopefully people will respect the park and what we're trying to do for the public, but we wanted to do this to hopefully deter the vandalism.
What company do we use for the cameras?
diversified security.
Diversified security, yes. So there's 5 8-megapixel cameras that will be installed. That way we can reach out. The monitoring system will be inside the old firehouse building itself, and Kurt Hamilton will have access to that in the mornings. That way he can look to see if anything was done. We will be dumping the trash and cleaning the bathrooms naturally every morning, so we'll be able to see pretty much right away if something has happened, and if so, we'll go to the cameras and hopefully.
Yeah, and this will also be something we can access remotely from our offices as well as our phones.
Our bathroom is being delivered tomorrow. Tomorrow, they're supposed to be here at 1 o'clock. It's coming in on a huge flatbed truck. They are bringing the crane in as well, and they will set that over the top of the rock, and then concrete will be poured around the building except to the east, and that will be grass on the backside of it. But that's going to be a sight to see. So if you're around tomorrow, sometime after 1, because they're not just going to be able to pick it up and set it right down.
It's not going to be a super fast thing.
No. If it's anything like it was when we did the one out at Mac Porter Park, it's a job it's a sight to see how they actually pick that thing up with a crane and set it right down over the plumbing that's already plumbed up. So that happens tomorrow at 1 o'clock. Our police will be blocking traffic on 33. That way they'll have to turn on Washington or 3rd Street, because once they get there, then they're going to have to back in through the old firehouse parking lot around the south side of the building and get it as close as they can with that big truck with that building on it, and then take it off with the crane. So I'm glad I'm not driving. On the splash pad itself, we've had a few hiccups with that. They are on site, and of course it rains again when and snows again when they're on site, but they're going to be digging the vault tomorrow, and digging the holes, and so look for progress on the actual splash pad to commence and start seeing some things going in.
Yeah, we've been told after the vault goes in, they got about 12 days worth of plumbing before they even start pouring cement. So
a lot of plumbing underneath that thing.
Lots and lots and lots of pipe under that.
So anything on the Lions Park update that you guys want to know about? Okay.
All right, I guess we can move on to the new park equipment.
We got our new UTV, and we've installed the sprayer on it. Got that hardwired in, and we wouldn't have got this UTV, I really don't think, if Dan wouldn't have kept pressing for that. And
Yep.
Dan, we mean that sincerely. You've pressed for a new UTV for us.
A couple of years.
Spray. Is he still here?
Yeah, he's still here.
Okay. So Dan, kudos to you for continuing to push for that to get in the budget. We appreciate it greatly.
And yeah, it's and I'll give you some tech on the new UTV. We have a 12-foot boom that we can spray with now, so we can cover we can cover our fields in a lot less passes than before. It's a 4-wheel versus the 6-wheel Gator, which means the turning radius is, well, the turning radius exists compared to the 6-wheel. It was not a good turner. Let's just leave it at that. It has a top speed of 65 miles per hour. We
won't go that fast.
No.
Please don't.
No. It's gas powered. It's got a 6-foot bed. 3 sides of the bed drop down. So we can turn it into a flatbed effectively. It's got tons of storage. It has seat belts. That's a big plus. It's got a roof. I mean, we just couldn't be more happy with this thing. So thank you very much.
You're welcome.
There's in June, there's a couple of things that are on back order. The parts for it, the turn signal kit and the horn kit will be in June. So when that's in, they'll come and get it and have it for a day and get that installed. So, but it's a really nice machine, and we're happy to have it. Really happy to have it. Now, if we can just get some days where it's not blowing 50 miles an hour or raining every other day where we can start to spray, that'd be great, because we need to start spraying. Dandelions and Ryan and I don't get along.
No.
It just doesn't look good when you see,
No.
After you mow the next day, the dandelions are popped up and it just doesn't look good. So
nope.
That's all I have on the UTV.
How is the progress coming on the amphitheater concert schedule?
Well, I am glad you asked. Amphitheater concerts are going great. We have locked up several bands this week, yesterday, in fact. So I can give you a little preview here. I'm not sure what I've already told you guys, but August 7th, we're going to be doing our Kearney Country Showdown. That's kind of our local showcase type show. All Kansas City area bands. I won't give away the headliner quite yet, but it's a good one. And it's going to be a really good show. The only reason I'm not is because this is a public meeting and it's on YouTube. But after we get off, I'll tell you guys about it. Let's see. The 14th, August 14th, we are not going to be doing a show, most likely. That is the night of the Purple Gold scrimmage. And we're not going to compete with Kearney football. I mean, we can't anyways. So the 21st, I told you guys about that show already. It's our classic rock show with a good headliner on that. And then the 28th, we're going to be having our blues festival in August. And we've got all the bands lined up for that. The old Number Fives will be headlining that. And I don't know if you guys have seen them before. They've played with us a couple times in the past, but they played with us in 19 and in what we call the 2 slot. It's basically the group that's after the opener, and they absolutely stole the show. They just completely wrecked it. And Eric and I were just kind of standing there, mouths wide open, like, wow. So we're like, yeah, these
Why
guys
are they playing second?
yeah, these guys are in the headliner spot in 2020, and we had them signed for it, and then naturally everything happens. So they're back. They're the headliners this year, and We have, we have a guy named Taylor Smith, probably, in my opinion, the best blues guitarist in Kansas City area. And then we have one of our best friends in blues, Reverend Jimmy Bratcher, will be back again. And he's such a great guy and we love him. Yeah. And that's his new CD that's out. It's actually number 3 on the charts right now. And the cool thing about this album is every single song on the album is about food. So he's a man after my heart. So that'll be on August 28th. And we'll be doing our Oktoberfest. So it's going to be a kind of a little tight season, a little short season this year. But honestly, we're just happy to be back out there and putting on shows for people. So we're excited.
And then in September, we will have naturally the Jesse James Festival. And to give you a little update on that, they are proposing to do away with the mud volleyball and have sand volleyball, which I think will go over better than the mud volleyball. A lot of people play sand volleyball. Actually, Connie's daughter is in charge of the volleyball, and I've been on the phone with her a couple of times, trying to help her find some fill dirt to fill in a little bit of the pits and some sand, but we don't have any. Or we would have, said we'll dump it in there and let them have that, but we just don't have any. So that's the festival's plan right now for those pits. Talked with Dan Colt. They are not going to enlarge the area for the demo derby this year. They're going to hold off again one more year, and that's okay. They'll still have their demo derby the first weekend of the festival, and then the main festival will naturally be the third weekend of September. So we're excited about having the festival again. I know Chief is gearing up for the barbecue contest. He's in charge of that. He usually gets a great contingency of barbecuers to come and do that. So looking forward to having that back out at the park. Chief, do you want to add anything on your barbecue cook-off or anything?
We got our first application in yesterday. So
fantastic.
So it's starting.
That's great.
If you need a judge for that, I'm volunteering Eric and I and the park board so we can all eat barbecue that day.
You're not certified, Ryan.
I'll take the class.
I've thought about taking the class.
That's all I have on the amphitheater and our Jesse James Festival.
All right. How about the July 3rd or 4th fireworks show?
The person that Bill Scholl does the July 3rd show here in town in his neighborhood. And we had him do our Christmas fireworks display when we had the first annual Christmas parade and things of that nature. And it was very well received. He naturally is doing his show on July 3rd. And we asked him if he would be willing to do it on July 4th. Well, that's a Sunday, and his crew are busy with church on that day as far as setup and so on and so forth, which it's an all-day event to try and get the fireworks ready. So he gave us contact of Aerial FX Fireworks in St. Joe, and to put it plainly, we're scrambling right now because they had put us down for July 3rd, and we were asking for a contract with them. They can't even get any fireworks right now. They have not received one shipment of fireworks, which usually comes in after the first of the year. So I told this to Jim at the mid of last week. So we're scrambling to try and find some fireworks. It's not that they wouldn't do it because they have us on their calendar. They just don't have any fireworks. They can't get any. And so
Can Bill get them for us?
Pardon me?
Can Bill get them for us and have
He
this
gets
guy
his
shoot them?
fireworks through that company. And I think Bill has some extra fireworks, but they don't have, they can probably get some, but our show is the budget is $15,000. So we have contacted a couple of fireworks companies and we're waiting to hear back from them. They think they can do it for us, and I'll be getting back in touch with them by the end of the week, and hopefully we can get this lined up either July 3rd or 4th. It will not be held out at Jesse James Park. We know that. It will be held, if we do have it, will be held at the old Hap Albright location. I'm drawing the blank. Jim Robertson owns that property now, and he has given us permission to use that property for a fireworks show. I know they're doing some grading on that property right now because that's going to be developed. But he has assured us that we can have that property for a fireworks show if we're able to do so. So
Why aren't we having it at Jesse James?
First and foremost, at the time, we didn't know the amount of people that was going to be allowed at the location. There's 3,000 people. We don't want a bunch of people congregating and all of a sudden it turns into a super spreader where people in the center part of town, that's basically as close to the center of town that we could, that's halfway high, that we can shoot shells off in that location. So we looked at many locations. In fact, we thought about doing it down at where they used to have it at the school, behind the school. Well, if we're shooting 6-inch fireworks, 6-inch shells, which is the maximum that we could probably have at the Hap Albright place, we can't do that at the school. It's with the regulations, you have to have I do believe it's 100 feet per inch of shell to an unoccupied building or residence. Well, there's too many houses in that area that prevent us from doing that.
So where is this new location at?
It is, if you go on Stonecrest and head north off of 19th on Stonecrest, the easiest way to see the whole property is from the east side, would be hang a left on 13th and it dead ends to that big location. So that is, that's the easiest that I can tell you to be able to see that area.
It's also where Marguerite dead ends to the south.
If you take
Off of
11th
92.
Street straight down, it runs into that land as well.
So a lot of people in that area would just stay home in their backyard and be able to see everything from home.
Right.
You happen to live right there.
Right. And, people in the central location of town would be able to see that. Not so much on the north end, but there's not a whole lot of homes on the north end of town. People on the southwest part of town naturally will, if it's on the 3rd, we'll still get to see Bill Schul's firework display. And then if we have ours on the 3rd, they'll get to see 2, or it depends if we can have it on the 4th. That's the option that we've sent out to the fireworks company. And like I said, we're waiting to hear back from them. Hopefully it comes to fruition.
So there's no other festivities surrounding the fireworks, just shooting the fireworks.
Just shooting the fireworks. It wouldn't be set to music. We wouldn't have the inflatables and things like that. And then hopefully next year, knock on wood, this stuff is gone, and we can have everybody back out at Jesse James Park, have the inflatables for the kids, have an extra concert. The Lions Club serves their concessions as a little fundraiser for them. So make it another festive event like it has been in years past.
You won't be able to see it from the church, Nick.
Yeah. Why are you considering doing it on the 4th instead of the 3rd?
One reason, so the community could basically see 2 fireworks shows with Bill Schulz on the 3rd, ours on the 4th. If I'm not mistaken, I think July 4th is a Sunday.
Yes, it is.
And Monday, everybody has off anyway. That's one of the reasons. If we have it on the 4th.
Well, frankly, the other reason is availability.
So.
Where is Bill's going to be shot?
He lives in.
What is the name of that street? It's right by me. It's
It's
right
on
off of
Paddock
Watson.
Drive.
Paddock Drive. That's it. Yep.
Yep.
Yeah, my only thought on the actual July 4th, I know families do things. So I'll be with my in-laws, in the country of Lawson. And, whereas July 3rd, I would be available, and we're going to be setting off our own on July 4th
Right.
on the property. So I wonder how much that would be,
Well,
would be doing the same sort of thing.
obviously you hear everything because I think they can shoot them off from July 1st on, if I'm not mistaken, with the city ordinances, because you see fireworks going off all the time around town. So whether it's 3rd, the 2nd, the 4th, there's always going to be fireworks going off in the community. So we'll see what happens and see first and foremost which date they choose, but more importantly, see if they even can do it. So we'll keep you posted. And that's all I
Alright.
have.
So do we have any board comments about anything? Looks like we don't have any board comments. And I would need a motion to adjourn the meeting.
A motion to adjourn?
And second,
I'll second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, motion. The meeting is adjourned. Thank you, Eric
Thanks,
and
everybody.
Ryan.